Breaking news now. Amidst Harris's meteoric rise, Trump arranges a news conference. As dissatisfaction with his presidential campaign spreads and Kamala Harris's poll ratings rise, Donald Trump planned an unannounced media appearance at his Florida club on Thursday. After Harris and her new running mate Tim Walz drew huge, joyous audiences for her newly energized Democratic campaign to defeat Trump in November, Trump announced a general press conference in a one-sentence tweet on his Truth Social platform. With her massive fundraising and her ability to erase Trump's advantage in the polls, Harris has completely turned the tables on the fight for president since Joe Biden's withdrawal last month. According to U.S. media reports, Trump is reportedly furious with the current state of his campaign and how it is dominating press coverage, particularly in relation to Harris. At the moment, Trump informed Walz that he completely agreed with his handling of the situation, even though Trump and Vance had been criticizing Minnesota Governor Tim Walz for his response to the violence that broke out following the murder of George Floyd. They accomplished something very remarkable in Minneapolis. Trump informed Walz and other governors and officials over the phone on June 1, 2020, that they came in and took over right away. Now that Walz is being considered as running partner for Vice President Kamala Harris against Trump and Vance, the call, which the Associated Press got on Wednesday, has taken on new relevance. Joining Defense Secretary Mark Esper on the call were Army General Mark Milley, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Attorney General William Barr, among other government officials. Just one day after Harris announced Walz as her choice for vice president, ABC News broke the story of the call earlier on Wednesday. In 2020, CNN made available a transcript of the conversation. On May 25, 2020, a white former cop named Derek Chauvin knelt on the black man's neck for about 9.5 minutes, murdering him. This incident sparked protests in Minneapolis and around the globe. Floyd yelled out, "I can't breathe," as film from onlookers caught his last gasps of distress. There has to be an examination of racism and police violence after his killing. The protests were violent at times. 3 days subsequent to the rioting, which resulted in the arson of many businesses and a police station in Minneapolis, Walz activated the Minnesota National Guard to assist in restoring order to the city. The governor declined Trump's offer of federal assistance later that day. Trump reiterated his recent assertion that he was responsible for mobilizing the National Guard during a fundraiser in St. Paul in May 2024. A fire was engulfing the whole city. Donald Trump told a Republican gathering that Minneapolis would not be here today if he were not president. During his speech in St. Cloud last month, Trump made assertions along these lines. After the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul asked him to do it, it was Walz who issued the order to mobilize. Still, Walz took heat for being slow back then. Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey were at each other's throats over who was to blame for the setbacks. On the phone with Walz on June 1, 2020, Trump called him a terrific person and went on to say, "I don't blame you. That mayor is to blame." During that period, the president refrained from criticizing the governor. "Tim, you summon large quantities, and those large quantities vanquish them with the speed of bowling pins," Trump remarked on Wednesday, though Trump campaign spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt gave the AP a different interpretation of the call. In spite of President Trump's offer to send troops and the liberal mayor of Minneapolis pleading for assistance, Governor Walz let Minneapolis to burn for days, Leavitt added. On June 1, during the daily briefing with governors, President Trump recognized Governor Walz's decision to send the National Guard to put an end to the violence in the city. This came days after the rioting began. Walz expressed gratitude to Trump, Esper, and Milley on the call, praising their extremely useful strategic advice. "Our city is hurting and grieving, you know.